goes 3, 2, 1. What's up, Mochi?
What's up? What's up?
Dude, you're only like the third artist I've had on the
Oh,
podcast.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, right, because like the last podcast you did, there was like two artists all together, right?
Yes, and then before that, they were pretty much all like Super Smash Bros. Players.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and the thing is, like, even though I, started doing this because I really wanted to talk about anything. Like, getting good is about just anything, like getting better at anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I want to talk about art.
Yeah, let's talk about art.
Yeah. Even I have it showing that the image you sent me with your Fiverr emote commissions poster.
Right.
Might as well
Yeah.
might as well plug you right here and right off the
Oh, hell
bat.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure you'll like put links down below or whatever, something like that, right?
Oh yeah,
I
I'll
don't. I
probably
don't know how you do
no,
it.
yeah, I'll probably like ask you at the end, like how, like,
Right.
for the links and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, interestingly, you are the one who told me about Fiverr.
Yeah, yeah. I was the one who was like, dude, you're so good and nobody does this on Fiverr. You should totally try to do it on Fiverr.
Yeah,
Because like I remember when you first started, like you were mostly just doing game stuff, right? And
yeah,
I don't think you were like getting as much commissions as you are getting now, which is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I'm actually like overloaded right now. So the funny story about Fiverr, it's actually like super. It's done well, but actually, like, it's doing so well that I cannot keep up with demand
Oh
right
my
now.
god.
So it's actually been kind of a fluctuating wave. Like, it was really slow at first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started getting commissions, and then there's, how there's like levels, like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, like the level 1, level 2. So I hit level 1 after like a year or so, and then there was like a larger influx of messages. So I
Right.
was like, okay, that's cool, that's cool. So I kept going, and then eventually I wasn't able to keep up. But that, in the past, it was just because I was like kind of lazy and just not really doing orders on time.
Mm-hmm.
So I let those late orders, like for six, like they get cleaned out after 6 months.
Right.
So then I let it get cleaned out, and then I started over fresh, and then I hit level 1 again, and I was like, okay, this time I'll keep up. And then I kept going, and then I got a lot of orders, and then I hit level 2, and then it's
Oh,
actually,
congrats.
yeah, well, yes, but the story's not over. So um, I I was like, this time, okay, I'll keep up this time. Um, and but it's actually really a lot. Like, the influx of inquiries and messages was so big, and the number of orders came in. Like, I probably got like 10 orders like immediately when I got level 2.
Wow.
Yeah, so the demand like increases greatly because you're a lot more visible.
Uh-huh.
But then it was just so hard to keep up. Then now I have a bunch of late orders, and then I lost level 2. So now I'm back to square one.
Ah.
But I think it's okay because now I know, like, if I ever get to that level again, because I already have the number. Like, it's based on like money earned and like how many orders you've completed or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
So like
and
once all that kind of clears up, you'll get back to level 2 once they do the
yeah,
review.
correct. Yeah, yeah. But interestingly, so I want to hear your story because I know back in the day, because you told me about Fiverr like 2 years ago or something like that, maybe
Yeah,
longer.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
about 3 at this point.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
2.5, maybe 2.5.
yeah. And then as soon as I got started on Fiverr, you said your Fiverr got like some crazy, like you got banned for some reason.
Yeah, the only gig that I have, the emote one, like got denied over like some really vague answer that kept changing.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, that was really awful.
So what happened? Like, I know, I remember you showed me some of their messages and stuff.
Yeah, so you know how Fiverr is like a site for freelancing and they're trying to keep up that reputation that like the people that work for them are very reliable, right? That's why
Mm-hmm.
like the deadlines are a thing, and if you mess up, it'll be permanent on your account until like many months from then, right?
Yeah.
Like so people can tell how reliable you are and you can tell by the reviews and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I pride myself in like, having that like beautiful 5-star review.
Yeah.
And I guess I went a little bit overboard on like one of the orders that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I had this one streamer that wanted an emote of his face, and like I usually like show the person's like picture on stream because I use that for reference, and people can tell like what I'm referencing it off, so that they have an idea of what I'm trying to do. And once in a while, I will doodle on their face for fun.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And I guess he was happy at first getting the order, but then like afterwards got unhappy knowing that like I doodled on his face, to the point he changed his order, his review to like 0 or
Oh,
1
what?
stars. Yeah, he was really that petty, going like, "Oh, I'm so uncomfortable the fact that like this Fiverr seller like broke my trust, yada yada, and like broke my privacy,
Is it because it was
everything,
on
something like
stream?
that." Yeah, it was on
Oh, I
stream, and I
see.
still have the clips. I still have the
Oh,
clip on like
no.
how bad I doodled his face. I'm
Uh-huh.
keeping that. I don't care.
Right, yeah.
So I think like that 1 star or something, or like maybe he reported me or something, somehow like ringed on Fiverr's like little, ooh, something's going on.
Mhm.
So like my gig randomly got denied, and then I would ask them like, "Oh, what's going on? I didn't do anything." And they would go like, "Oh, first it's because you use because you mentioned your username a lot." And I'm like, everybody does that. Like they're trying to get their name out there. What's wrong with that? And then it was something about Twitch, and then it was something about like the description in my gig, and the answer just kept changing, and I was just getting so frustrated that I was so ready to just like start like raining insults on them, right?
Yeah.
But like luckily I didn't do that. My husband was like really helpful enough to like try to keep me professional and like try to like respond as best as I can. But in the end, I kind of just gave up. Like, yeah, Fiverr is like, like used to be like my one and only like source of income, and then this got taken away from me, and I lost all 160 something reviews on that gig alone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's why it was like, dude, do I really have to start over again? I am going to still be like seller level 2, which means like my gig will be bumped up to the first page, but at the same time, I'm fighting against like these other people who came in after me, but now have like hundreds of reviews, and I can't keep up with that, right? So at first I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make my own site, see if I can like promote it to the best of my abilities. But then realized that it was a lot harder than I thought, right? Because you don't have that like just you go into a market, you type in a thing, and then you see the first thing that pops up, right? Because a lot of people, a lot of artists have their own sites, yada yada yada. So I came back to Fiverr a second time and realized that I had to switch it up and try to adjust my gig so I can hopefully fight or like be up against these bigger numbers and still have some sort of traction to my gig. And I was forced to like reduce my price by like 70%.
Woo!
No, that's not right. About like 50%.
That's still a lot.
And that's not including like Fiverr still takes like about a fifth of your earnings, including tips, which is absolutely insane. I still don't understand that.
That's really silly.
Right. I guess they were trying to like so that people can go just just order 1 emote off of me, and then I'll extend the deadline, and then I'll do 3 emotes for you, and then you'll just tip me like a lot, and then if right, like they're trying to make it so that like they can't get scammed over like what we're earning, which is fair.
Yeah.
But still, it's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like after that, I started expanding because people were like, "Oh, we need sub badges too, and then we need bit icons, and then we need profile pics, and then we need panels and all that stuff." So I've been trying to like expand bit by bit, but you know how, of course, a lot of early streamers or just streamers in general would like all their art to kind of be uniform, right? So like these guys would come back constantly and like go like, "Hey, I need like these amount of panels. I also need these amount of emotes. I need these amount of badges." And I'm like, "Oh no, I can't keep up with this."
Yeah, they're so specific, and they always need a bunch.
Yeah.
I've had a couple streamers. There's like Pan Fergus. I think he.
I know him.
Yeah, he because he's had some stuff from you too, right? Yeah, and
isn't he the guy that you drew like that wolf girl for?
Yeah, the character, his OC.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had me like do a lot, like a couple layouts, and then his BRB screen, his starting screen, and then a bunch of like panels.
Uh-huh.
But it's cool that they added that to Fiverr, like stuff specifically for streamers,
Right, yeah.
like a
It
category.
makes it a lot easier to like find things because they know it was starting to like be really popular. It was booming, right?
Yeah.
Because when I first started Fiverr, right, I had like a whole page of like people doing emotes. Not even a whole page. There's like one person that was doing it for like about $55 per emote, which I thought was still kind of
What?
crazy. Yeah. And then two or three more that had like zero reviews and they were just starting out about like $15-$20. And then a couple more, like two or three more that was about $20-$25. But
Uh,
then their quality, I don't want to be like, like they were kind of, it seems
yeah,
like they're kind
it's
of starting
okay.
out.
Yeah.
Like I was garbage too when I started out, but I was like, okay, that means uh, would you like something cheap that's like really just to have an emote? Do you want something really expensive that looks really nice? Or me, which is right in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where like I started like growing because like I was at that right spot where it's like not too expensive. My stuff was kind of okay when I just started, and it's really hard to like compete now. But like once in a while, I'll still get a decent amount of orders and people coming back for more emotes because now Twitch allows you to have like a lot more emotes
Wait, really?
as an
Even for
affiliate.
us?
Yeah, as an affiliate, yeah, you know how you would get like tier one emote, tier two, one emote, tier three, one emote.
Oh, right. Because now we get like 5 or something, right? Like
Yeah, so
depending
depending on
on.
how many subscribers you have,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think like at 15 subscribers, you unlock a second slot for the tier one, yada
Mhm.
yada, and then for bit badges as well. So like if someone cheers 100 biddies on my stream, I think they permanently get a single emote, and I put down like my little devil horns emote,
Oh, nice.
and then you can get more as like the higher you tier. But I haven't really put anything else up. I am like blanking out on what I should draw.
I actually haven't set that one up yet because bit badges were added like more recently, right?
Yeah, I mean, bit badges you can just keep it as like the neutral one, but like this is a bit emote reward or something like that, right? Where you
Oh, I
actually
see.
get an emote. I think it's permanent. I would hope so, right? Or like maybe it resets per month. I have no idea.
Like as one of your existing sub emotes as a reward for bits or something? Or is it
No, you can
a
literally
separate
put
one?
like a separate one. Yeah.
Oh.
So
Huh.
like I'm starting to like import like the emotes that I put out for BTTV to my bit rewards.
Oh, I see. You know what? I want to talk about just like the art game in general these days,
Uh
because
huh.
this is like pretty common now, where there's like, because one of the reasons I really studied business is I mean obviously to make it in as an artist, but like you are the one who got me started in Fiverr,
Uh
and
huh.
and then over the past year of studying business, I was like, okay, I'm learning like basic economics, supply and demand, stuff like that, and learning how to raise. But like the number one thing that I got from experiencing working on Fiverr is like learning when and how to raise and lower prices, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
sometimes it's kind of arbitrary. Sometimes it's like, this much percent I'll raise my prices or I'll lower my prices just so I can get more inquiries and messages. Um, but anyway, like, uh, I probably get like half of my work on Fiverr, and then the other half is from like friends and family, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, friends from the Smash Bros community, just like your social connections in general.
Uh huh. Yeah.
And it's interesting that like I was lucky because I mean, well, not lucky, but I started doing freelance when I was 25 already.
Uh huh.
And I already had a lot of friends like following my art, and I pretty much took the same Instagram account that was my personal account, and then I just transitioned it. I was like, okay, I'm an artist now, so I'm just gonna post art, only art. But as a result of that, it was my family and friends who were the first people who were like commissioning me,
Uh huh.
um, and I kind of built it from there. And what's interesting is that a lot of people are like, how there's like no middleman now. You don't need to go to a studio, you don't need to go to a gallery or whatever.
Right. You can just be your own thing.
Yeah, and the it's so direct with your clients,
Mm-hmm.
um, and uh, so a lot of people like, so we end up diversifying the ways that we earn income, and a lot of us, sort of not, maybe not inevitably, but like a lot of us chose streaming, just because it's like art is already something we do, and they can
Right.
just like stream it. A lot of artists out there are like YouTubers,
Mm-hmm.
because they enjoy like either speed paints, or they just like record their stuff and they enjoy the editing part and then talking, like doing a voiceover and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've started doing that just with tutorials and stuff. Like my YouTube is monetized, but like I'm not really a great YouTuber because I got so accustomed to streaming. And they say,
Right. It's just different.
yeah, they say that YouTubers are not great streamers and streamers are not great YouTubers, because when you're streaming, you're used to just being live and just talking like whatever. With YouTube, you have to like plan it out, make sure it's a good quality video, that it's worth their time. You got to edit it
Right.
nicely, maybe add music, stuff like that. And a lot of that stuff is like too tiring for me.
Right. Because like on Twitch, you can just be yourself. You can ramble on whatever.
Yeah.
Listen to more music, and just talk to people on your stream. And then people that come to your stream are just like, either they're there to talk to you, or like they just need something in the background while they're doing something, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's why they're lurking and stuff like that. Well, on YouTube, like people's attention span is a lot more shorter, so like you just
Mm.
constantly have to keep them interested, or else they're just will be like, skip, okay, that's the final result, that's cool, okay, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't get to like fully enjoy the whole video.
Yeah. Twitch is like more of a hangout.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you do besides commissions and Twitch?
I've been recently doing Magic the Gathering altars,
Oh, that's
because
right.
yeah, my husband got me into Magic, and then he was like, "Oh, you're an artist, right? You should try to do this. This is so cool." And I'm like, "I mean, that's cool and all. That's very cool and detailed and really nice, but I've never really played around with like acrylic paint or like paint in general, right? Like as a
Yeah.
kid, when I was in high school and all that stuff, I was very stubborn, going like, "Oh, I don't need like stupid colors. I'm just gonna use my pen and pencil and paper, and it's all gonna be good." So I was really good at like just doing like shading with a pen and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and I did like a lot of like abstract work. And then university came around, and I was forced to immediately pick up the digital pen and like draw something that actually had color, and it was a mess. But looking back, like I've gotten like so much better.
Nice.
So like I've never gotten to that era of like playing with like colored pencil or crayons or painting in general. My one of my friends does that, and she does like amazing oil painting. When I saw that, I was super jealous. But like I've never done that, so I was like really scared of like picking up a brush and like getting all the gear and equipment and materials that I needed. But like as the more I draw and like the more I paint, it's actually like not as bad. I'm still just trying to get the feel of it a lot better. Like just improve on it.
For the magic altars, this is like when you're painting on a card, right? Like, do people request like what to do with the, like, what you're doing is painting on an existing card, right?
Right, yeah.
So do you just take the artwork that's already on there and then like expand it, or do you like do custom, like how do you get the ideas for what you're gonna draw on the card or paint on the card?
Well, sometimes it's just, you see the very basic one is expanding on the idea that there's already a image in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you expand the background or something like that, or add more things into it. And once in a while I'll go like, "Hey, this card is great. You know what would be a great altar for this?" And then like I have my own idea, and then I try
Oh,
to like
nice.
repaint the whole thing, right? Um like for instance, the most popular card in Magic the Gathering that is used in like almost, I would say every commander deck, that's the format that I play, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like 100 cards,
Mm-hmm.
is the Soul Ring. It's a literal ring, right?
Uh-huh.
There's two versions where it's like a ring on a pedestal, or like an actual like ring of fire, soul, because fire, right?
Uh-huh.
And I've seen like people alter it so that it's like Gollum trying to reach out for the ring or something like that, or like redraw it completely as the ring from Lord of the Rings, like just the ring itself. So
Yeah.
like there's like plenty of ideas that you can do with it. For me, I either do that, like I have a stock of pile of like things that I thought would be cool as an altar. So, and like I will bring that binder around full of cards to like people who play Magic and go like, "Hey, you interested in any of these?" Like,
That's cool.
yeah, or like if people know me, I've had like I think 2 commissions so far from
Okay.
like one of my friends or like Magic players going like, "Hey, can you do this for me?" kind of deal.
Based
And then
on
that
they saw that you were doing that already.
yeah, so like they were like, "Hey, can you like do this altar for me? Like, I don't know what idea I'm going to go for, but like just have at it and have fun." And I'm like,
Nice.
"Oh, this could be like an interesting this or that or this or that." You know, like I start like brainstorming like crazy. Some of them already have an idea in their mind, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the best when someone tells you that, like, just do whatever you want to do. That's like the best feeling.
Well, it depends, right? Like in a way, like I prefer to have like some sort of direction first.
Oh,
You know, it's like someone going for emotes, going like, "Hey, can you like draw me as an emote?" I just want myself to be like happy, sad, rage, and this, and then from then on, you can do whatever with you want with it. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. I can
mm.
have a little bit more creative freedom." But when someone's like, "Okay, hey, can you like make the cheeks a little bit skinnier? Can you
Yeah,
make
I
the
hate
nose
that.
not like that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then I do that, and then they're like, "You know what? I don't like that. Can you change it into this again?"
Yeah,
So
that's
like
the
it's just
worst.
constantly like revisions, revisions, revisions.
Yeah.
I get you have a vision in mind, but like my God, I have other orders to do here.
Yeah, yeah. For me personally, like, because there is like an actual revision option on Fiverr too,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm trying to tell myself to be more strict about it because I need to respect myself more as an artist because a lot of times I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do the revision, but they
Right.
do have an option for like paid revisions, and it's hard to say no to, or like, it's hard sometimes to say, like, sometimes they ask for a revision and they don't expect to pay, but they're like,
Right.
can I please get extra pay for
Yeah,
this
I mean,
revision?
like, I don't mind to a certain degree if it's like very minor tweaks that take like
Yeah.
2-3 minutes, right? It's like, okay, fine, I'll do that. No biggie. You can literally come to me after the order is done on Fiverr or on Discord or on Twitch. Not a big deal whatsoever.
Mm.
But then, like, sometimes those revision things are there for like people who are like, hey, can you do this like email that has this certain theme? And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I'll do it. And then he goes like, oh, I don't like this. Can we change it to something else? And that's when it's like, if it's within the same theme or like certain adjustments, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that at all. But if you want like completely different art, I'm gonna have to charge you another emote price worth, like,
Yeah.
because that's a completely different idea than what you wanted. I've already drawn you the first one, and I can't really sell this emote to anyone else.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I've told you about my like nightmare situations where, did you ever see me animating that lion like 2 years ago? It was like a running lion.
I think I was there for like a short snippet of it, but I never saw you finish it.
Oh yeah, so it's, yeah, maybe there's a reason why you never saw me finish because that guy must have asked for like 11 or 12 revisions,
Oh
and
my
that's, yeah,
god.
that's when I learned the truth. I was like, dude, some of these people are just hard to please, because
Right.
and I wasn't quite as experienced in freelance back then, so I would do like something that I felt was finished, without really going through the drafts with the client, and he would just be like, "Oh, can you change this and that?" And I think in animation, the guy didn't realize, like, if you make a small change, I have to change all the frames, and
Right. It's a lot of work,
yeah,
especially for animation.
yeah. So I learned right after that guy, I was like, okay, I'm never doing this again, and then I changed like the revision requirements on my Fiverr.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because like as an artist, you take pride on what you do, so you want to deliver the best that you can do.
yeah,
So like if they say like, "Oh, it changed this part a bit." You're not just going to be like, "Okay, I'm going to change this part," and then leave the rest of them like the same.
yeah, yeah,
Like that would like tick me off as well, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Some people are crazy.
definitely. Mhm.
But yeah, like, it's when you get the freedom that's like the best, for at least for me
Right.
personally, because like, yeah, of course there's a direction, but when they say, oh, just do it in your style, I like your style, that's the greatest compliment ever, because then I get to
Right.
draw, and then at that point it doesn't feel like work anymore.
Right.
Because for me, long term, like, me, I have SPR. Eventually I want to do my own films and animation and comics and games and stuff like that with my own characters. Like, long term, eventually I want to just be able to draw my own stuff because I have pride in it. It's like my babies, my creations, and at that point, if I can transition my career to doing the stuff that I just want to draw, um, it will not feel like work anymore, and I'll be able to work all day, like, no problem, because I will never get tired of it. Um, and I guess, like, so before I started freelance 3 years ago, or 4 years, wait, 5 years ago, no, 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I was still working
Uh-huh.
at a deli, sandwich shop, and I was like, I quit the deli because I was like, okay, I'm really gonna try just going full time. My parents were still letting me live at the home. I might as well try it and start like taking off in my career. And
Right.
that's when I opened commissions just to my friends. And I was like, okay, really cheap, $5, $10. I'll do whatever you want. And
Just to get like some experience in.
yeah, yeah, and immediately, because I had spent like there's a lot of young people who start out commissions and they don't get any because they're not really that known, or maybe they're not really
Mm-hmm.
that good. I mean,
Right.
I was already at a pretty decent skill level. I had already gone to art school, and I don't know why it took me so long. I was 25 already, and I was like, wait, I should just start commissions now. Why not? And because I made it so cheap, the demand was already there. Like my friends were like, "Oh snap! Okay, draw my favorite Smash character, draw my favorite Pokemon, stuff like that." Like five
Mm-hmm.
bucks. They're like, "Oh, that's such a good price." And then eventually they started telling me, "Dude, you're so cheap. You should price it higher." And I didn't quite understand it at the time. I was like, yeah, I don't, I like being cheap. I like just putting out art for people. And then I learned
Right.
more. I learned more over time, and it's crazy how it grows, and it starts from like a little tiny thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Cause like you want to be paid for like one, your time, and two, like your skill level as well, right?
yeah,
And like the difficulty of like whatever you're doing.
yeah.
And that's like the problem that I have as well, like when I'm expanding my commission stuff.
Mm.
Like I don't know if you've seen this, but like I used to like do stuff on DeviantArt. I would draw like my D&D characters and stuff like that, but mostly portraits
Oh, no, I didn't
because
know that.
yeah. Um so I had a friend that really wanted like commissions from me, and like they were asking, "Hey, I have this D&D character that I really like, but I can't find an image that's like close enough to him. I have a couple of things that you could take from. Like, how much is that going to cost me?" And I go, "Oh dear, I would not know how to price it because it's one of the things that I really do take my time in, and most of the time I'm not really good at certain parts of it, you know."
Mm.
So it'll take super long for me to draw something because I'm not used to it as well. So how much should I price it at because of my skill, and how much should I price it because of my time?
Yeah,
Time is
yeah,
the biggest issue. While for emotes, like I used to take about like 1.5 hours per, and now I can, if I know the idea behind it, I can like finish it in like 20, 30 minutes, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm still putting it up at roughly the same price, so because I'm used to it. But like certain new things, it's like, this is not, is this going to be worth my time? But I don't want to price it too high because I don't think it's like worth that much. And
yeah.
ooh, like it's really hard to find that number.
Dude, emotes are so fast. I've done quite a few emotes now. I don't do primarily emotes, but I almost feel
Yeah,
like
I
I
know.
should have gone into that game earlier,
Uh-huh.
because they're like so fast. Like
Yeah,
at least
it's
in
definitely
comparison
like
to
more
animation.
worth. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
like
you
so
just
many
don't
people
get
need
enough
them.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's like, oh yeah, you need it for Discord, you need it for Twitch, and then, yada yada.
yeah. Yeah, I
There's
have
a
done some
lot.
Discord emotes. It's man, yeah. Like actually, I've kind of been like a little bit frustrated with animation lately because animation is so much work, and
Yeah.
it's hard to find people like a lot of people want animations, but it's hard to find people who understand how long it takes because
Mm-hmm.
they can see the price. Oh, I'm doing like a animation for like $80 or a set of animations because my price right now is like $80, and then a set
Mm-hmm.
of 4 animations. These are like Twitch alerts for like 250 or something like that. And some people, like the cool streamers, they see it and like, oh yeah, that's a great price. And like I feel like they say that because they're doing well on stream already, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they can afford it. And but then there's a lot of small streamers like, oh, that's how much animations cost. Oh, okay, maybe I don't know. Um,
Yeah, well, in the end, it's like something to pretty up your stream. You don't need it to stream, right? But you
yeah,
want that to feel special, and like you have something unique on your channel that people
yeah,
are gonna go, "Damn, that's really cool." But
yeah.
yeah, I do agree that like your animations are definitely way too underpriced. I constantly say this
I
because like
know.
imagine like for me like like 20, 25 bucks per emote, and I take like about 30, 40 minutes for it, but then you
Mhm.
take hours, and that's like multiple images that you have
Yeah,
to like constantly line, shadow, color, like not even close, man. Even 100 bucks would be way too cheap in my opinion.
right.
But I get that at the start you were just trying to get those numbers up, right? Like get
Yeah,
people to
yeah.
know you more. But now that you have like a lot of people like literally going like, "Choknater, please, I need your art."
Right.
Give me
So
your art crumbs.
yeah, so I'll give you the numbers right now that because I was doing when I was on level 1 on Fiverr, I was doing an animation for 65 and I was getting a decent influx of work. I think
Hmm.
when I was level 1, I still wasn't that visible, so I was able to keep up pretty well. Just on top
Right.
of the other commissions that were like coming in from other places and not Fiverr. But when I hit level 2, I was like, oh my gosh! Then I raised the price to 80, and it wasn't enough. I should have raised it to something like you just said, like 100 per, um,
Yeah.
and then like 350 for a set of 4, or something like that. That probably would have helped slow it down and
Right.
bottleneck it a little bit. Like, yeah, I've talked about this several times on the podcast, like the whole supply and demand thing. Like, I
Hmm.
learned that the supply is just me. The supply is me and my time. I'm not like a retail. I don't like the
Yeah,
supply isn't.
you can only do so much because in the end it's not like an item that you can just buy and sell. It's
Yeah,
yourself, and like as special as an artist, you can really feel that burnout after a while.
yeah, yeah. So I should have raised the prices a lot higher than what I did. That actually would have made me less tired, and I would have earned more, and other people would have been happy. It's
And
really
it would
interesting.
motivate you a lot more as well, knowing that like your stuff is worth that much, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. So I learned, live and learn. So I'm just gonna keep trying to get the like I have like a quarter of my orders have been late in the past like couple of
Oh
months.
gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, always don't forget to like, you can ask for like deadline extensions, and
Yeah,
you can limit how many orders you receive on that
yeah,
gig before it disappears from the page.
right.
And also it's because the moment you hit level 2 seller, you're almost guaranteed like first page when someone looks you
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I
Yeah.
noticed that. And like uh yeah, so my personal preference as a business model is that I kind of have it as a principle to never close commissions, because in my mind, and I've talked to people about this before, some people don't agree with me, but I always tell them, like, if I close commissions, I will never know how much demand there is, because there will probably be going to be people who are like, hey, I want a commission from choknater, but his commissions are closed, so they end up not even messaging me, so I won't even
Hmm.
know that they want something. And for me, the only correct way to do it, I mean, for me personally, is to raise prices in order to bottleneck the amount of
Right. Raise
people
your
asking.
prices, make your deadlines last a little bit longer,
Yeah,
see
yeah,
how it works.
yeah,
And also if you want to find out like roughly how much you should up your price. I hate this because like, like art, you take time on it. You need to you have to like enjoy it to a certain degree, right? And not treat it 100% like work.
mm-hmm.
But like it would be a good idea for you to time roughly like how long it takes for you to like do these
Yeah. I'm
animations.
so bad at that. I'm still not consistent with that.
I know, like just do like a couple of streams or like multiple orders of like different styles or like different difficulties,
Yeah,
and just see how long that takes.
yeah. Um, Another thing I was gonna say is that, like, I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of animation as a commission thing, because like when it comes to animating, like I really love animating my own characters, and the thing I like about animating them is I get to make each frame pretty. Like, I want to do a fighting
Right,
game,
right.
and like I I started animating the fighting game like 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and Sorbet's movements, and that is like some of the best animation I've ever done, to
I
this
love
day.
seeing you work on that. I remember you working on her when she was like holding her hammer and like on an idle position, just kind of
Yes,
bobbing up and down a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
I loved watching you do that. I can tell you were just having fun and you were just like, yeah, this is good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and that's probably still to this day my best work in animation.
Wow.
So that's interesting because in the time I've spent freelancing animation, I didn't improve. Which is funny because I'm constantly doing it. I think the only improvement was that I got faster. I don't think the quality like
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
animation raised, but I did get faster just because I had to keep up with orders. Um,
Right.
so I think personally, I'm going to try to influence the way that I do freelance toward more just drawing, because
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy like looking at an image and making it look pretty. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like a crazy painter where I just spend several days on a single image. My attention span is too short for that. But I don't like just doing a frame really fast and then trying to move on to the next one, and then not it's not my best quality. It's not that
Right.
fun. So yeah, I just want to enjoy
Yeah,
myself more.
Yeah, before I started doing emotes as well, like I tend to really overdraw. So drawing something really small that's in like a 112 by 112 canvas, pixel wise,
Yeah.
was like quite the challenge. And I kept trying to tell myself, don't overdraw, don't overdraw, don't
Hmm.
overdraw. And I think that stuck to me a little too much to the point where like I would try to constantly make my emotes very simple.
Hmm.
And I mean, it looks nice once it's done, but like, and then I see like these other streamers that are like big, right?
Hmm.
And they have their own artist that does their own stuff. And recently I saw, I don't know if you know this guy, he's called Sleepy. He plays Overwatch.
I don't know.
He was recently showing off like his sketches for his like new emotes, and I was
Hmm.
like, these are really nice and detailed, and I'm really surprised they turn out really well and fairly like visible
Yeah.
compared to like what I've been doing. So I realized that yeah, even I've polished my work, but apparently there's still room to grow,
Yeah.
even for like a small thing such as emotes. So
Yeah.
I've been thinking of that, and I want to do better, but at the same time, on my Fiverr, right, like people have already seen you doing a certain style, and I don't want
Right.
to like constantly go like, hey, so this is my regular style, but like I'm trying to do something new. Would you be interested in that or something like that, right? With a
Yeah.
chance of like compromising on my like the end result quality.
Mm.
So I might just like start experimenting with like my own emotes first before I do that. But I definitely realize now that there is definitely room to grow even in the smallest like pieces of art. It's crazy.
Yeah. I would say just do it without even telling them. Just do it something slightly different. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
do
I
the experiment
might.
because people will. I think people will still end up liking it anyway.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I tend to like to give them a little bit of a heads up as well.
Oh,
Like
okay.
before, when I did emotes when I first started, I would do like boring black outline, and then like I would have this like border outside of the black with like this very light gray color,
Mm-hmm.
just so that like it would look nice during dark mode and light mode. That was
Mm-hmm.
my excuse.
Mm-hmm.
But then like how do you say, it just felt like very cluttered, meaning that the emote had to be like a little smaller to fit that like
Oh yeah.
white gray border. And from there I slowly like changed it so that I would use like more dynamic outlines, so I don't need to do that and it still looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a little bit of like progress there to make it more professional. It's like standard, very nice, but I do want to get better at it because I feel like yeah, recently I've been very comfortable in what I do, and it doesn't feel like I'm getting better at all. And like you said, it
Right.
just feels like you're getting faster. That's it.
Yeah. 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 You just get used to doing the thing you're already doing and not
Right,
actually expanding.
shortcuts and stuff like that to make things
Yeah.
a lot easier for yourself.
Yeah. Which I think is ultimately good because even if we do end up like increasing the quality of our art, we'll still remember and know the shortcuts that we came up with.
Right.
Yeah. The thing I've realized about emotes is that because they're so small, like I think the limitation is good because it ends up saving you a lot of time and you focus more on like readability. Uh,
Right, right.
like
And that's
can
what
they
I've been
see the
focusing on more.
yeah, like can they see the emotion that's happening in the emote? And as long as the expression is there, like considering in the case that it's a like a face or a character, like if they can see the expression of the character, as long as that's like readable, you can go in and make it you know fancy or nicer, higher
Right,
quality. I've
right.
seen some beautiful ones. I don't know if he still does emotes, but do you know Ataman Man? Ataman Man?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. There's so many artists on Twitch, but he has beautiful art. And I think he was doing emotes for a time. Um, anyway, yeah, like you can tell, like even in an emote, you can tell when people are really good at drawing.
Yeah, I mean you can tell because like, they reach that like final sketch
Uh,
like really fast because they already kind of know what they're going for in their head.
yeah, I want to do
But then
more. Yeah, I think there's this one guy asking me for emotes on Facebook, but I took so long to get back to him because I was so focused on finishing my late animations that I don't even know if he's interested anymore. That's how this is how bad it was. Like it was only in the past like 3 months.
dude.
The influx was crazy, and it's my fault for not raising my prices enough. That's the number one
Yeah.
mistake that I made.
Yeah, I mean, I do plan on raising my prices a little bit, at least by $5 for emotes, because I'm trying to get back to that goal of like having the same price as my old gig, right? That got
Uh huh.
denied
Oh
or deleted or
right.
whatever.
Wait.
So like, I guess
So.
that's my goal right now: getting a
Uh
little
huh.
bit of reviews on my emotes, so I feel confident enough to up my prices and still get like orders in.
So your current gig is like it's a new one. It's like the old one's just completely gone.
It's still on my account, but it just says denied. But if I click on it, it won't send you anywhere. It's
Oh,
just there as a memory. Like it literally says, it's my old one, and it goes,
that's
"I will
sad.
draw you original custom Twitch emotes starting
Yeah.
at $30, but I can't get back up there just
Wow.
yet."
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah. Well, I'll get there eventually. I'm
Yeah.
getting like my reviews, and I have like 85 reviews on my current gig, which is really
Oh
nice.
yeah, that's still quite a lot. Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely get it. Um,
Yeah.
I you mentioned that you were doing your old D&D characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually something I've been trying to get into more because I love drawing D&D characters. I realize. So I've never played D&D to this day. I know my
Oh,
brother.
really?
Yeah,
We need to play one
dude, I'm so
sometimes.
down. I don't know if I ever have time, but I'm so down. Well, the thing is, my brother-in-law is trying to start a game with the family.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be so fun.
Yeah, yeah, because he follows Critical Role. You know Critical Role.
Oh yeah, I used to watch them. I didn't really follow their second season though.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so my brother-in-law follows them, and that's how he kind of found out more about D&D and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the show Community, and Dan Harmon, the
Uh
writer,
huh.
he's a really
Yeah.
big fan of D&D. So it just seems super fun. Like once you get really into it. Um,
Funny thing, my very first like knowledge of D&D, right, was from Dexter's Laboratory.
oh right, didn't they do that? It was like a
Yeah,
virtual.
there was a one where they made Dexter was supposed to be the DM, like controlling the game and everything, and then they
Uh
had
huh.
like friends playing, and then Dee Dee, the sister, comes in and like ruins everything and becomes the DM, and then it was just chaos. And I was like, "This is great. This is funny."
I want to see
It's
that
like,
episode again. Yeah.
oh, I wish I could like find that episode. It's basically like if Skyrim just had like so much more freedom and like, oh, you see this guy, he's like trying to pick a fight with you. What do you do?
Uh
In
huh.
like video game settings, you would have like the confrontational answer, the non-confrontational answer, the running away answer, or something like that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then in D&D, you could literally just go up to him, like either punch him in the face, kiss him, like pull
Yeah.
down his pants, literally anything you want to do, you can do. And
Right.
it's like,
Right.
this is great.
Dang, I super want to play. I already have a character. Uh,
Really?
yeah. So my brother-in-law like he had us set up the characters like many months ago. I think he's just waiting on my wife. Like she just needs to make her character because
Uh-huh.
she
I
just
take
always
forever to
forgets
make my
about it.
characters too, but
Yeah.
I enjoy doing that. Here's an example of like my very recent character, which
Okay.
was from 2 years ago, something like that.
Uh huh.
Yeah, and so like I love doing something like this, but like it just takes so long, and I don't really have that confidence that I can draw for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because like D&D characters are for me like very personal. Like I have like the exact idea of how I'm going to make this character, the personality and all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
how it's going to turn out. Well, if other people come to me, it's going to be like they have to try their best to describe this character, right,
Uh huh.
without going on and on and on and on and on. And that's why it's like really hard for me to like draw anything.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because like usually, yeah, people normally do put a lot of thought in their characters. Not only because there's so many like stats and equipments like you have to pick, that are part of the game,
Uh-huh.
but like those just end up really making you think about like what is your race, what is your backstory, stuff like that.
Right.
Um,
Like certain things in your backstory is going to affect your character's personality
yeah,
and how they react with other people and stuff like
yeah.
that.
What's funny is
And
that. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
in that case, like I'm still like learning how to roleplay properly, and I don't want to break character
Uh huh.
because like you don't want to just like, oh another player used like their perspective role or whatever and figures out something like that, and then my character immediately knows, even though that's not how it's supposed to be, right? Like you don't
Right.
want to be min maxing, cheating like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a very specific goal in my in the D&D game we're gonna play eventually.
Uh huh.
My character's name is Antoine Stark, like
Okay.
Starqe. It's basically Tony Stark but in French.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The only thing I want to do is become Iron Man because
Oh
I'm a
my
big fan of
god,
Iron Man, right?
yes.
So my brother-in-law's like, I asked him like, is that possible? And he's like, yeah, you could do whatever you want. And so I'm like, okay, so I can focus on like gathering metal and armor and just making really cool armor and then trying to like enchant it or something, or like creating some
Oh
kind of
yeah.
gunpowder or something, and like shoot lasers. Like there's a way to do anything, and like because I just really wanted to make sure, is anything possible in this game? And he was like, yes.
Almost anything possible
Yeah.
is possible. It depends on the DM as well, and depends on how strict he wants to be with the rules, or does he want to make it like more homebrew, where it's like fun always triumphs rules or something like that.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, but I think I still want to stay within like the confines of like the time period that D&D is set in, like the
Right.
technology that's there, right? So, but I still want to be Iron Man. That's like the goal.
Yeah, I mean, when you first start out, right, like you want to try to follow the book so that you can get a feel of like you know what to expect first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then from then you'll like branch out and stuff like that. So my very first one was just like a typical bard, and then a while ago I made, I don't know when this was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like a year older than this. Yeah, it was 2017. I made a bard that was basically a heavy metal bard. So her personality is obviously a lot more on the aggressive side, and she has a guitar that she enchants with like a distortion thing. So it's like an actual like electric guitar,
Dude, that sounds so fun.
and like her skills are like thunder based. Like like
Oh
you just
yeah,
have,
that's awesome. I love that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like bards are usually known for like their most common cantrip,
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
guess, vicious mockery, where you basically insult someone to death.
Right.
It's great. So
Nice.
like you could go like, I cast vicious mockery on this guy, and then you roll, and then it's a critical roll, and it's like an overkill damage, and then the DM just goes, all right, how do you want to do this? And that's like the best feeling ever. You can literally
Nice.
just say whatever, and it's
Wow.
just, you can like role play it to make it like even more awesome or something, or
Yeah,
even
yeah,
like
yeah.
super lame, or just go like, your mama's fat.
Right. Yeah, I feel like if I was ever to do this, because so I picked human as my race, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked through all of, like the classes, and none of them quite fit like what I wanted. So I just picked fighter just because it was like really basic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and okay, I was like, okay, Tony Stark is basically a human fighter, and then eventually I got to get weapons for myself. So I was just thinking maybe I could just make more weapons. So whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to make sure I have really cool armor, and then I want to make sure that I combine like whatever weapons and technology and magic is possible. I just want to make the coolest armor and like imbue it in my armor, and that's like my goal. If I can end up flying at some point, I would love to do that too.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
I
So,
think there are certain like skills that could make you seem like you're flying to a
uh-huh.
certain extent.
Okay.
I haven't really like explored that yet, because most of the campaigns that I joined kind of fall apart after a while.
Uh-huh.
So I've never really gotten past like level 4 or level 5. But like
Right.
in like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, maybe like you'd have some really cool spells.
Yeah, I know because I was reading some of this stuff. Like the end game of D&D seems really cool. Like you basically become like godlike at the end.
Right. I mean, I suggest if you're trying to go on a really unique role playing route where you want to know what can or cannot be done,
Yeah.
instead of like looking at the classes, I would look at the back page of the book, where it's like all the list of spells.
Oh, okay. Well, we
Yeah,
don't
for
have a.
instance,
I don't think we have like a hard book. We just use like this website that my brother-in-law showed me.
yeah, you can get a PDF version of it.
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
But like for instance, you can get creative with their skills, right? For instance, create water or something is you're supposed to create like a body of water in this like X amount of X cube or something like that. And maybe you want to use it to like put out fire, or like to drink, or to like suffocate someone in it or something, like you just gotta have like a lot more of a creative mindset. And that's one thing that I've been trying to learn to do as I'm
Nice.
playing D&D. But it's just a lot harder unless you've experienced enough D&D to go like, maybe I can do this instead of that. Same with like Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? Like you see Katara kind of use like the ice version of water, the
Mm-hmm.
snow version of water, and like the water, and then steam, like
Yeah.
manipulate how like she moves, and like you know what I mean. Like that kind of creativity is what's needed for D&D.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you? I think I'm pretty good at that because like
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
spent so much of my life doing world building for SPR. I think D&D would be like no problem for me as long as I'm
yeah,
familiar with what's going on.
yeah. As long as you're familiarize yourself with the rules, I think you'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I need to remind my wife to make her a character. She said
Yeah,
she wants to be a
definitely.
tree. I don't know what that means.
A tree.
Yeah. She said there's way
So
like my brother-in-law was saying like there's some types of people who can like I don't know tree people or
yeah,
like
I mean,
druids or
there's like a
whatever.
lot of like races that are not part of the basic 5e book. I don't know which version you're playing with,
Uh huh.
but like the basics of like the human, half elf, elf, high elf, drow, tiefling, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we're trying
Um,
to keep it basic.
yeah, if we're trying to keep it basic, I would suggest just going for like the closest thing to a tree, which is an elf druid or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I think that's what.
Just
Yeah,
just a guy named tree hugger.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean druids are pretty fun. Druids are pretty fun.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, I don't know how we got on this topic. Oh yeah,
Oh, it's fine. We're just talking.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
D&D in itself is quite the art. Like you have to be creative. You know what to expect. You know how to improvise.
Hmm.
Expect sometimes your roles might not be good, and you have to role play it to make it more fun for the team instead of just dang it, I didn't hit him. Okay, next round.
Yeah, yeah. I I have gotten a little bit more into it because I've done like I think like 4 commissions now for of people's D&D characters.
Ooh,
And 3 of them were from the same guy. So
really?
yeah, he has like 3 different characters because he keeps doing different campaigns. Um, but it's pretty cool. It just seems pretty cool, like the type of like the. Oh no, I've done 5. There was another girl who asked me for one, but it's so fun
Nice.
because like the level of personality you can do it because like when you're playing an RPG, which is
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize this, but things like Final Fantasy MMOs, they're based on stuff like D&D.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
because D&D, they're your pencil and paper RPGs, and there's a lot of different games, um, like D&D that also use pencil and paper, and they have their own rule book and stuff like that. And
Right.
yeah, I didn't know that existed, and I was like, this is there's more freedom in this than in something like a game, which is basically a closed system. That as much as you want to do, you're still refined to what has already been programmed in the game. Like
Right.
your level of
And like
creativity is
Elder
just
Scrolls does do a
yeah.
decent job about like trying to emulate that,
Oh, uh huh.
giving you multiple options on like who you want to pick sides with instead of like you constantly have to pick the good side. No, this is like both of them are gray. Which one do you want?
Yeah, yeah. It's really like a create your own narrative type thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the games, there's like a spectrum, right? So you have Final Fantasy, which is super linear. They have a story set for you already, and you just go through the story. And because the story is well written, it becomes a lot of fun. And the characters already have their personalities, and the only customization is like, their weapons and equipment. And you're pretty much trying to find. There's not a lot of self expression. It's more that you're trying to master the system that's there. and
Right.
and then there's like MMOs where you have like certain characters and classes and some of them a lot of them are limited, especially like the Asian ones, like the Korean ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's like certain classes and you have to pick those, and then you just level up and grind, and there's monsters and raids and stuff like that you can do. World of Warcraft's kind of same thing. And
Yeah,
then there's
definitely.
like Elder Scrolls where you just have total freedom, and they're trying to give you as much freedom as possible to make.
Right. You're not like you're the chosen one, you're gonna save us all. Like
Yeah,
you're the good guy. No, you're just another person who happens to be at the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time. And
yeah,
you're just trying to like help people and do quests and, once in a while sneak into people's house, kill them and like steal their loot.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. I love Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, so what I'm learning is that D&D is like beyond that. The freedom in that is even beyond because it's just straight up your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean it's limited, yeah, by the rule book, but that's barely anything. Like that, the only limits are just like numbers and you know
Right. The
people.
only limit is just like, literally up to the DM
Yeah.
and how well you roll, which is really sucky because sometimes you want to like make this character that's like, oh, very serious, very meticulous, very precise, but then like you just constantly roll awful and you make a fool out of
Oh yeah,
yourself,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's really hard to like role play that, and you just get very frustrated.
I see. That's
That's one
that's
of the things
interesting.
that's like fairly flawed about D&D is
How
your
it's so
character could
reliant on
be
the
like,
dice.
yeah, your character could be like the best thing that's ever happened and can like annihilate a whole population within a single flick of the finger.
Uh
But then you roll like a natural one, and that's just like, all right, I'm just gonna like shove my face into this toilet now.
huh. Dude,
You never know what's gonna happen.
I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's ways to like influence the likelihood, right? Like Like,
Well, there's bonuses, right? For instance, like if you have like a high enough intelligence modifier or something like that,
mm-hmm.
right? It will be like your roll plus that intelligence modifier. So sometimes you can still like make it just enough to hit.
uh,
But like if it's too low, nothing can save it, you know?
yeah, I have a
Just make sure
question.
that you don't completely fail in something.
Yeah, I'm curious. Um, have you ever done like RP in like forums and stuff? And like, I don't know if people still do that in Discords and stuff like that.
Oh, they still do that depending on like which Discord you're on.
Dude, I've never. I always thought that was kind of like nerdy, you know, because
Uh-huh. But then
we're all nerds, we're all weebs, right?
yeah.
But the thing is, like, there's levels, you know, and that's why
Yeah.
I always thought D&D was like lame, and I was like, why do people do this? You know, that's growing up and being naive, and now that I know, I'm like, dude, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
you've been missing out, man.
yeah, yeah,
Like you can literally do whatever you want in this world of fantasy.
yeah.
It's almost like video games, but like, you know, the
It's
graphics are literally in your brain.
yeah. I think it's potentially better than video games now that I'm older, because when you get older you realize that video games is just all about calculation at that point, because
Right.
you've seen all the stories, you've played all the MMOs, and you know how to master RPGs, you know how to gamify things, you know how to maximize your stats, stuff like that, you know all that
Uh-huh.
already. And at the end of the day you're going to run into the confines of how the world is built. You're going to run into like the mechanical limits of the game. um
Right. Well, that's the thing that differentiates between like a tabletop role playing versus like a big like triple A game, right?
yeah.
A big triple A game, you know what to expect. They're like fairly highly reputable and they're consistent, right?
Hmm.
While on D&D one, it's really hard to like have everyone in the same schedule to like group up and actually play it. While you know some most video games you can just play solo and be happy with it,
Uh-huh.
and it you never know what's going to happen depending on like the players you're with and the DM that is like telling the story, right?
Yeah.
Because like for all you know, the DM could be like really boring, or like for all you know, it could be mind-blowingly great.
Uh-huh.
It just really depends, and no campaign is going to be the same, you know.
Right, right.
Like you could have you as a DM could have like this campaign like, all right, I'm gonna have this story about like goblins raiding a village, yada yada yada, and then suddenly it's apparently like a really bad guy who's taking control of the goblins. But
Mm,
then depending on like the play group you're playing, the story could completely just go in a different route,
I see. I see.
and that's what's really interesting.
Yeah, I love that. I really want to play now. I'm gonna remind my wife tonight after she gets home. Dude, make your D&D character. Let's play.
Do tell me how it goes. I am really excited for this. Like
Yeah.
I've never known anyone outside of like me who's like, you know, this I'm about to like do my first time D&D and I don't know what to expect, and I'm excited and I would really love to hear your experience on this.
Yeah. 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 I mean, we're probably not gonna record it or anything, but maybe I'll
I
like make
know.
some videos, like talk about my experience. You know, like
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've had like to watch a couple of people do that on YouTube, and it's just great. Like, mostly like the animator ones, you know, like kind of like Jane animation kind of
Oh
style.
yeah. Oh, that would be perfect content. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. I could literally link you like after this. One of the favorite ones that I've been like watching, and it's like
Oh
hilarious.
my gosh. Yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I forgot the name. I'll find it later.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm hyped now because I didn't even think of this. That if I do play D&D, I can make it some animation content
Yeah,
depending on
you
what
can
happens.
start monetizing it at like you know
Yeah.
10 minutes per episode, telling like what happens in and
Yeah.
out of the D&D campaign.
Wow, this is a great idea.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man, I'm hyped now.
You should be. D&D is great.
Yeah.
And if you are trying to find like I would say the closest game that you can find on Steam or whatever that is very D&D based,
Mm-hmm.
it would be Divinity Original Sin.
Okay. Wait, what is that? This is a game?
It is a game very much loosely based on D&D, where each race has their own capabilities, each class has their own thing.
What's
You
the name
can
of it again?
sneak in. I'll write it down. It's Divinity Original Sin. I have the
Oh, okay.
second one. If you ever have it and if you ever want to play it with me, I would be so down because it is a great game and I've been wanting to play with people.
Is there a sequel, Divinity Original Sin 2?
Yeah, yeah. I would suggest getting the second one. I've never really played the first one. I
Oh,
think it's
okay.
just as fine, but like better graphics, yada yada.
Oh, okay.
But even
Oh,
playing alone, you would have a decent amount of fun here because you'll get like NPCs joining your party.
uh-huh.
But definitely play with like another friend or two. And oh my god, I promise you, you will have a blast if you like D&D type kind of
Ooh,
stuff.
there's a lot of good reviews on this.
Yeah, so you can just follow along the basic campaign that they have.
Hmm.
But I think if I remember, there's also a tool where you can literally build your own world and like make it your own, and make your own campaign. It's a lot of work, especially like turning it digitally, right?
Yeah.
Because like you have to place NPCs, place like all these little intricate furniture and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But follow the basic campaign, you will not be disappointed. It's
Okay.
great.
Maybe I'll tell Mel to play this with me. Maybe.
Definitely, it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
And like since it's on currently there's like a Steam sale going, maybe like you can pick it up for a lot cheaper.
Wow. You know, fantasy at the end of the day is the reason I wanted to be an artist. Like
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
have
Same here.
I have SPR. That's like my fantasy, right? It's based on all the anime I've ever seen, every book I've ever read. Like cuz I have a world like it's basically on the scale of like a shonen anime like Naruto and One Piece. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just a big world um with many races, many different characters and people, and I'm just so excited to like flesh it out. And I want to keep putting out the comic. And I love like what the way I see like like, games like this, and I sometimes I still go back and play Ragnarok online.
Oh
Um,
my god, yes.
yeah.
I
Did you
miss
play
that
Did you play
game.
RO?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
I can't
my
believe I
god,
found someone who plays Iron. Oh my god.
that's crazy, dude! It's the best. I,
Dude, I played it when I was like 8. That was the first
oh
like
snap!
MMORPG I've seen my brother play, and I got into it. I still remember like upping like strength on my mage and
Yeah.
like upping intelligence on my
Wow.
swordsman.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just great.
Wow. When did you play?
It was like forever ago, but like I've been trying to get back into it. Like once in a while, I will always come back to it because it's like one of the best. I still believe it's one of the best
Oh, I agree.
MMOs that
Yeah,
I've played.
it's one of the best MMOs of all time.
The
I think,
mechanics and all that stuff is great.
yeah, I think it's so slept on. Um,
Yeah.
like it's a step up above RuneScape. I think a lot of people like RuneScape, but I think I early on I discovered RuneScape and like, man, this is kind of ghetto, and it's
Yeah,
kind
if
of
I
wacky.
remember, Ragnarok actually came out like a year or two after RuneScape,
Right,
if I remember, something
yeah,
like that.
and the quality was so much better, and I was like, why don't people play this instead?
Yeah,
And
it's like 2D or like 2.5D in a
yeah,
sense, but
yeah,
it's like great.
yeah, and the thing is like, um, I mean the setup is so good. Like to this day, like the way the classes work, um,
Right.
yeah,
Like just the dynamic between classes and how like satisfying each class feels,
yeah,
even though like, like there isn't really like the OP class.
yeah, and
Like
they
each class you can like build it different ways with like different items for like different purposes. It's just
yeah,
great.
and like the weapon system, the card system, the way the stats and skills worked. Like you said, it was all about teamwork and synergy at the end of the day. Um, and like back then too, like the official server was still like monthly subscription. So the official
Oh,
server,
dude,
yeah,
really?
it wasn't quite as popular. So at that point, everyone had gotten into like private servers, um, because I guess it was fairly easy for people to just like get the game programming and then just make their own server. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so those got really popular, and I think some of them now are even more popular than the official server, even though the official server is free now. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and
I
I
played
don't.
it on the Indonesian server and it was like free since day one, but they had like like a cash shop. You know
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
is.
yeah. Right, right. Yeah. So the international one, which is mostly English speakers, is they have the cash shop too. I still
Mm-hmm.
play from time to time. I just recently reinstalled because I just wanted to feel the nostalgia again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the art is so good, the music is so good, and they're still updating like very faithfully to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember when they announced Rebirth Ragnarok or something like
yeah,
that, where they're starting over from like the very first patch and then they'll slowly add in like updates.
yeah.
And I was really looking forward to that until I realized there are certain uh certain what's it called, countries that were banned from making an account from there. And
What?
I think it was Germany, Brazil, Indonesia, and like some other countries. And I was
Why?
just, oh, I was so sad. I didn't know why. And I guess like that's why I was just like, yeah, I guess I'm not playing this. But then they
Dang.
recently came out with like Ragnarok
Yeah.
Trans or something like that.
Transcendence.
Transcendence, yeah. And I played that for a bit, but I never got to like the third job or whatever. Never got to like 99.
Yeah.
I had fun though with like my guild, but then I just kind of lost interest in it for a bit.
I was always a solo player in those. Uh,
Really.
yeah, I always loved like solo grinding and trying to figure out like how to get as much money as I could by myself. Yeah.
I am just a through and through a support player. I love playing the priest. I love playing like merchant just to like support my priest.
Wow, that's interesting because like I've learned that like usually in most games support is OP.
Right.
Because you know how like in League of Legends all the healing supports are really like undertuned because
Oh, they're really weak, yeah,
yeah,
unless you actually do well.
yeah, but I think it's because Riot knows how overpowered healing is. And
Right, yeah.
when I look at a game like Ragnarok where the priest heals like so much health with very little cost, and you pretty much can't survive as a guild or a party without a priest, I was like, wait, this is a really overpowered class. I think I've realized that is the most overpowered class now because you get so much value for such little cost.
Right, yeah.
Because when I played Ragnarok in like 2012, I was like merchant class. It's all about the merchant class because it's all about money, and
I started like buy selling strawberries. It was funny.
yeah, 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 exactly. And I was always like, man, if you have the money, you own everyone. Like you own the market. And then I realized, where does money come from? Money comes from the resources in the game, which is basically killing monsters and getting loot and getting stuff. And at the end of the day, you still have to like overpower the monsters, and the best way to do that is a
Hmm.
priest. The priest does everything. Like
Yeah,
the
it's definitely like one of the most highly targeted thing when you're fighting something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've learned my ways. I'm actually playing right now, and I'm trying to like get this certain item.
Really?
Yeah, well, not right now, but like I started playing again, and I actually have 3 blacksmiths because
Oh, what?
because I love the class so much. Um, yeah, I have like 1 regular blacksmith and then 2 mechanics, which is the third job.
Uh-huh.
And those are like level 100, like
Damn.
140 something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's like my favorite. Like I love that actually one of the reasons I love Iron Man as a
Hmm.
character is cuz like he's a mechanic. And yeah, he like makes stuff. I think
You're all
like
about the tinkers. I love the alchemist in Ragnarok.
yeah, I think
That's
in
great.
another life I would have been like a mechanic type person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you're just a little too artsy for your own
Yeah,
good,
I
so
don't
you went to this
yeah.
little path.
Yeah, maybe I would have made a lot more money as a mechanic. It's okay.
uh, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, I got to
But
live
like,
with
yeah,
it.
I used to be able to like go on for days just in the internet cafe grinding on like Ragnarok and all that
Mhm.
stuff, drinking like these garbage like $1 coffee things that's just full chucked of like chuck full of sugar.
Yeah.
But like I can't do that anymore. Like I just don't have that grind in me anymore. And the only things that I'm able to grind is like, either like playing League or Overwatch in like a
Mhm.
competitive form,
Yeah.
or survival games where like you actually gather resources and stuff. So I don't really have that MMO drive anymore.
Yeah, it's
And I
really
don't know
grindy.
why.
Well, the thing is, this is why I got back into it. So, in League, right? Um,
Hmm.
like the nature of getting better at like a competitive game like League, or me and I play like fighting games like Smash Bros and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, like you don't get to keep like in League of Legends, like you're basically resetting every game. Like
Right, like in MMOs, like you can see that progression of like, oh, I'm so close to like max level. It's like
yeah,
so satisfying to see that progression.
yeah, but not only that, but like all the items and money you get, you basically keep it. So there's a sense of permanence. Um,
Right, yeah.
yeah, in a game like League of Legends, or even more so in a game like Super Smash Bros. Or fighting games, like because you're resetting every game, the thing that you keep is your skill set. It's like what you've
Right.
learned, your how much you've practiced, and you don't really feel that sense of overpowering your opponent because they want the game to be fair, you know?
Right, you're always like starting in a as a blank slate. Like every single character is gonna
Yeah.
be the same.
Yeah.
While on MMOs, like like your dedication to the game shows in your character on like the rare gears and the better items that
Yes,
you
yes.
you use that to your advantage to like fight enemies or
Yeah.
other players that don't have as much dedication to the game as you do.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, and I really enjoy that element because it kind of relates to life. Like one of the reasons I love games so much in general is because they are like kind of like microcosms or kind of reduced versions of real life. Like
Right.
I play chess a lot. It's actually becoming a really more popular game. Um
Huh.
yeah, and the point of chess is like you need to be able to look ahead. Like it's really easy to learn the rules, but being able to see all the moves that are possible, and
Right.
picking the best one is it takes a lot of planning and it takes a lot of like kind of instinct. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't think that chess takes instinct and fast thinking, but it's actually really extremely tests your brain. Like how fast can you think? Like how fast can you see and figure out what the best move is?
Right, you
Um,
gotta like start predicting your opponent's move and kind of try to read them as well, and that's really
yeah,
hard when you're fighting like random people.
yeah, and so what I've learned is that like from chess is that each game kind of tests like a certain skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So fighting games is testing like your reactions, your practice, your matchup knowledge, stuff like that. And I've learned that every game has tests certain skills, but MMOs are the most like life because like just like in real life, people say check your privilege and all that. Like people have advantages, right? Like and
Mm-hmm.
people build advantages, and people if people have more money, you have an advantage. Just like in poker, if you have more money, you're probably winning. Um, and I really like that about MMOs that what I get I keep, right? And
Right.
I just want to get ahead and I just want to be the strongest guy and in my own way that I like, um,
Yeah.
and so one of the reasons I got into MMOs again is because I kind of want that like that part of my brain to be activated again, like
Mm-hmm.
like in an MMO you're like you get certain goals based on not only your character but like there's a certain item that you really want, right? So for me, I,
Right.
I like having an item that I really want and then I find it on the market and then all I do is just grind money until I
To
get it.
get that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I care more about grinding money than grinding experience and strength because that I think money has so much more value in an MMO. Like that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of times because I play only blacksmith on Ragnarok, it kind of translates to my real life where I think a lot about money these days. Just because I'm trying to run my own business and the way that I see it is like it's kind of like resource management, time
Yeah.
time management, like decision making, like long term decision making. Um, Trying to get the right items. I invested in my computer and I bought Toon Boom Harmony like 5 years ago, and it's really paid. They've paid themselves off, right? Like the computer has more than paid itself off in the business that I do, right? So to me, like in a certain way, I kind of see it like life is a little bit like an MMO where I saved up for that item and then it really increased my power level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree and disagree on that one a little bit because as much as I would agree like you are stacking advantages and all that stuff, I see it as like in MMOs everybody starts as a clean slate and then a little bit of luck and then mostly hard work is where you get to where you're at,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
While in life, yes, hard work is nice and all, but most of the time people were already born with like a lot more advantages than you are
Right, right, right,
having currently.
right,
So like in a way, that's why I like MMOs because it's fair for everybody
right.
to a
And
certain extent until it's like pay to win or something like that, right?
yeah, that makes sense. Um, but I think what's interesting about real life that even though there are people who are born with the advantages, and of course this depends on the country you live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
The
I mean
country
we're
you live, the family you got, and
yeah,
people around you.
yeah, and if even if you have a little bit of opportunity, you can really take it far depending on how hard you work. Because there's a lot of people in the world that have their advantages and don't make the best of it. They just make a lot of
Oh
bad
yeah,
decisions. They kind of
that's
squander
true.
it. And I think I really enjoy the aspect of like, okay, I have certain advantages, I have certain disadvantages. What can I do that's the best? You know what I'm saying? Like, what decision can I make that's really, really good and will pay off in the long term? Um, and I understand that a lot of people don't have opportunity to make those decisions, but it's like one of my goals in life to be able to like make really, really good decisions. You know, and
Hmm.
that's kind of how that's what I try to practice when I play MMOs.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, um, if you're presented with a problem in real life, like you will have like a couple of like things you can do, and you would try your best to pick the best decisions.
Hmm.
But like you still wouldn't know the results completely, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like for MMOs and stuff like that, everything is just determined by numbers,
Yeah.
right?
Right, right,
Numbers
right,
and
right, right.
elements, and like this element is an advantage to that element kind of deal. Well, in real life, like um a single problem could like lead to like multiple problems, but also solve that single problem.
Right.
So you know, like when when you greet someone, you could either be greeted back or like get punched in the face. You don't know that
Right, right.
person, you know,
But
like.
you know what? It's I think it might be the Iron Man in me that
Hmm.
believes that not that I can control everything, but that I can try to factor in as many variables as possible.
Yeah,
Because
that's
that
true.
yeah, that's the crazy part of real life. Like if you can sort of, I mean, a lot of people do this nowadays because game theory is not really just something that applies to games. Game theory is just solving problems and trying to
Right.
make calculations and using math and using science to solve problems. Um, and it might be the Iron Man in me to be like, okay, this is what life has presented me with. How can I kind of game this out? How can I figure this out? Like, kind of build something to like master this, you know?
Right.
Um,
And I mean, like, you know, this is going towards like the Iron Man thing. Tony Stark, like, you know, will try his best to like make the outcome something favorable to him, but
yeah.
doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% like success rate, right?
Right,
Like,
right,
there are
right. Yeah,
some that are like trial and error.
yeah.
And that's the thing that you got to look towards life. Try your best and, like, you know, try to make the best decisions.
Yeah.
And if you fail, that's okay. Just don't set yourself up for failure. You know, if you know something's going to be bad, don't do it.
Right, right,
Don't be
yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, and the thing about, I think that's the beautiful thing about Iron Man too, because he's in a metal suit, he has all this technology, but he's not a robot, right? He's still human, and like the human aspect of it is that you can never be perfect like a robot, but at the
Right.
same time, you don't want to be a robot. You want to have intuition, you want to understand beauty, and you want to understand human
Yeah.
connection and stuff like that.
In
You
the
know?
end, you're just trying to find ways to like fix your flaws. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
To
yeah,
just be better.
yeah, yeah. I really like the direction that this conversation went. we we talked
from
about
art to D&D
yeah,
to MMOs. This is
yeah,
great. I love it.
to like to life, and because it really at the end of the day, like I said, I got into this business because I love fantasy, and the reason as humans explore our fantasies is because we have dreams and desires of how we want the world to be, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm sure that Marvel comics and stuff like Lord of the Rings has really influenced the way people want to live, um,
Right.
and the way people experience games, like not just like Final Fantasy, but also even their MMO games. Like they experience these fantasies within a fantasy, and they still establish their own personality within that fantasy, and it helps them. They can take what they learned there and try to apply it to real life. Now the danger is, of course, we're talking about games. The danger is that some people get stuck in the fantasy, right?
Mhm.
um, and they don't understand how and why that fantasy can be useful. So I try not to do that. I always try to remember that even though I play all these games and I write all these stories and I love anime and I love drawing pictures and having these characters, um, it's still important for me to take what I get from the fantasy and bring it back to real life and see how I can apply it to myself and the people
Right.
I love. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, there's definitely like a lot of things to learn from like literally everything you see and you do, you know.
Yeah.
And like being able to like understand that it's not a separate thing and it all connects in some way, and you can learn from like any of them to put on the other thing.
Hmm.
That's great, you know.
Yeah.
That's definitely a goal.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to. I'm really, this conversation made me excited for life. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
You know what? I've actually been extremely stressed out,
Oh, dude, same.
dude. Isn't life crazy right now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's just crazy, whether it's like what's happening in the world, what's happening around us, or
yeah,
like just the very core of it, like, you know, work and people around you and just
yeah.
how you've been feeling.
Hmm. Yeah. Like not it's so we already have like the challenges that we have, like basic stuff like
Yeah,
trying.
life is already hard as is,
Yeah,
and
it's
like things
already
are just
hard.
making it worse.
Yeah, yeah. That's the crazy part right now. I'm just getting overwhelmed. Like you heard about like all the drama and stuff in like the gaming community with people coming out about
Yeah.
like abuse and stuff like that.
Yeah, the
It's
Smash stuff,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
offline TV
Offline TV.
stuff. Yeah, oh
Yeah,
gosh.
really crazy stories coming out. I was like really stressed about it. I was just talking about it on stream yesterday, and I was just like, man, what is this world coming to? And it's
Right.
hard. I've always been a positive person, like a hopeful person, but it's just hard to see the answers. Like the world is
Yeah.
so politically like against each other. Like people are getting sick. Like it's really It's a really difficult time. But I think I don't know. Like a lot of people, a lot of people this entire year have been saying, when is 2020 gonna ease up? Like, is it ever gonna
Right.
get better? Like ever since the beginning, like Australia caught on fire, and everyone was like worried about like the climate, and then all kinds of stuff happened, and it
Yeah.
just never ends, and we don't know if it will end. And I think it's a great challenge to us, like the young adults in this generation, to like really try to make
Right.
sense of it, and try to like make sense of like what do we do now, and what are we learning from this.
Right. I mean, like in a realistic point of view, like the world isn't going downhill in a sense. It's just like the bad is now shown a lot more and they can't hide behind curtains anymore, if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
for sure. Yeah.
Like there's always like racist people, there's always sexist people, there's always people who are like ignorant and all that stuff, but they've been keeping quiet because everything's been kind of good. But the moment they're on edge, this happens, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's just a lot more like shown in the spotlight. They can't just hide behind like, oh, no one saw me do it, nothing's gonna happen. Now like, um phone recordings and stuff like that has been like a lot more accessible to like everybody.
Yeah.
They can't hide behind like, oh, I'm gonna just pretend to be nice again, and like the rumors are gonna go away. No, it's like you did this thing, there's proof, people are gonna call you out on it.
Yeah. And I mean we've been talking about like fantasy and stuff this whole time, right? And the difference between, I mean the main difference, because there's a lot of stuff in fantasy that like
Yeah.
pretty much parallels to real life, but the main difference between fantasy and life are the stakes, right? In a fantasy, it's low stakes because all it is,
You
I mean,
die, respawn, whatever.
yeah, you die is whatever, right? You get to try again.
Right.
In real life, if you die, you die, and then, or
Right.
even if you get hurt or injured, it could be like permanent. Like a lot of people who get coronavirus, like
Right.
they get
It's not like you
better.
can just boop heal.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's no just like revive button.
Right. And that's one thing that I really don't understand about people like not wearing masks recently.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like they treat masks as a political stance when it's literally just compassion towards like other people, like
yeah,
human
yeah.
beings.
I was
Like,
definitely talking to my wife about that last night. How
right.
a lot of things that shouldn't be like a political statement have become a political statement for no reason.
Right. Anything you do now is a political statement. Breathing is a political statement,
Yeah,
apparently.
no, yeah, literally breathing. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Right. So like why is it so hard for people to understand that like, yeah, masks might not protect us 100%, but it's still preventing, even if it's just preventing it by 1%, I will still wear it all day long.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, oh, wonder what I should pick: being uncomfortable all day wearing this mask, having slightly like difficulty to breathe, or like billions of dollars on like the chance of my lungs getting destroyed and having a chance of like actually dying.
Yeah. And
I
now,
wonder, such a tough decision. Oh boy.
right, right. And I mean, you're an American now, and you know how messed up the health.
Yeah,
The
it's been
healthcare is
really
here.
messy. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So anyway, like, I'm happy that I'm a gamer and I'm happy I've been a gamer for so many years because I learned how to solve problems in like you said, we get so many tries in games to figure out, our goals and our problems.
Right.
We have so many tries and we have so many opportunities to practice that. And now that
Mm-hmm.
I'm an adult and I see the real life problems, I'm able to like try to observe and try to look at it calmly and be like, okay, in a game I would do this and that. In real life, like what am I gonna do now? Like
Right, like don't treat it fully as a game where like you can just mess up and it'll be okay, but like think of it as like this is a problem that you can solve
exactly
to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's how you transition to skills because
Right.
obviously life's not a game. Like the stakes are extremely, infinitely higher.
Extremely high. Yeah.
But the stuff that I practiced in games applies. And
Right. Like
yeah.
like, like this video game bleeds into real life as much as like real life bleeds into video games. Where like
Yeah.
in video games there are certain things that are more politics, reputation, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Those things matter to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, like, oh, if things go really bad, you can just uninstall the game, delete your character, start anew. That's fine. But like
Mhm.
in real life, that's not how it works.
Yeah. You know what's interesting too is like some people really try to get that reset in life, and some people succeed, and some people are able to do it. Like some people just like if they're in a toxic situation, they try to move out. I mean, this is all really really difficult, right?
Right.
But it's some people really need that, and it's crazy that life doesn't get a reset button. You just have to just keep going. Time never goes backwards, you know.
Yeah.
But we just got to try our best.
Yeah, well, it's like, in video games, you can play, like, for instance, Cuphead, do the same strategy over and over, die over and over,
Yeah.
get frustrated, but you still do it anyways, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because you're stubborn like that, but life teaches you that no, if something doesn't work, stop doing it, do something else.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's a lot harsher, and it's like a necessary evil kind of deal. What's the
Yeah.
word?
Yeah. Yeah. I
In a
think.
way, like it makes
Yeah.
you like grow up. It makes you learn from your mistakes. It makes
Yeah.
you realize that like, you can't just be messing around here.
Yeah. Like the high stakes and our mortality, and the fact that we can get injured, and the fact that we can get sick, and you never know how if you're gonna fully recover. You know that's like the challenge of
Yeah.
life. That's like the sense of urgency that people have, and
Right.
it's really important to have that. Like a lot of people just kind of dilly dally in life. Like you and I, gamers, artists, we love
Mm-hmm.
fantasy. Like we're nerds, right? But
Yeah.
I'm happy that we're sitting down and having this conversation and talking because we're both adults now, and we're both like doing art as a business and trying to figure out life. And it's all about like taking all the stuff that we learn, and I think that's the beautiful thing, and this is why kids need fantasy. This is why kids need to play. Whatever kind of game it is. Like I was just talking to my brother-in-law the other day about how like VR is getting really big, right? Like a lot of my friends are
Right.
getting into VR chat. And there's like some other games that are VR, and kids nowadays play more sandbox games than anything. Like they're not really playing the games like Final Fantasy where you just have a set story. It's more like they're
Right.
playing
They
Minecraft.
want that like creative freedom of
Yeah,
just doing
yeah.
whatever.
You like they would probably find it boring to play Final Fantasy just because they just want to do whatever they want. They're like, why can't I climb this wall, or why can't I fly? Like
Right.
right. So what's beautiful? I think it's a beautiful thing that kids get these games because they're gonna start exploring their ideas in a different way than we could when we were young.
Yeah.
I wish I had Minecraft
Yeah.
when I was a kid. That would be sick. I
Oh,
mean,
dude, it would be so
yeah.
cool.
I mean, I could always play now, but it's not the same as being a kid. When you're a
Yeah.
kid, you have so much time. Your parents, let you play.
Yeah, I mean, like you
Depending on
learn a
people's
lot
parents,
more
but
like from the raw like idea of it, and
yeah, yeah,
you learn to appreciate it more as a kid. Like just every little thing is just like amazing to you, but as an adult, you learn different things from like certain games.
yeah, yeah. I think as adults, the way adults make decisions is a lot more based on like bigger picture and
Yeah.
like living by principles and living by general rules that we've learned over the years. But the
And
thing is,
some sort of like logic and common sense as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. And when you're a kid, it's a lot more random. It's a lot more exploration. And like
Right.
kids have faster reaction times, kids have more energy, so like the way they learn to understand the world is and the way they make decisions is completely different from what we do. But I think a lot of people underestimate kids, like how powerful their brain is, because kids can
Uh-huh.
really really be genius if you just put them in the right scenario that they can explore and play, and that's why play is
Right.
so important. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, because like for a kid's mind, like their world is like so small that the worst case scenario of like like something bad happening to them is like they trip and fall, or like they forgot their homework. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
they haven't really fully understood like what goes on and like how the world actually works. And while you still have that sort of innocence, you need to like hold on to it.
yeah.
Like not be fully ignorant, but like use it anytime you can. Like just explore before like the world corrupts you.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's so crazy. Like I can't go back to being a kid. As much as I still like
Yeah.
playing the Ragnarok, I can't go back to when I was like 12 years old and I can just fire up the game and just,
Right.
you know.
That's the crazy part. Like as a kid, you're like you look up to your brothers or sisters or like parents, like I can't wait to be a grown up
Right,
so I can
right.
do all these things. But then like as an adult, yeah, you can do all these things. It's great and all. There is some sort of sense of like freedom in that sense, but then it comes with like a lot more responsibilities
Yeah,
than you
yeah.
were expecting.
Yeah, the pressure is crazy right now on
Yeah, and then
all of
you're
us.
like, I wish I was a kid again. Like have my
Yeah.
mom make me some lunch. I don't know.
Yeah.
And now we're just eating like garbage ramen or
Right.
something.
Dude, I just had ramen yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I did too.
Nice.
I did too. I tend to try not to have ramen because it's like, fully carby and stuff, but once in
Yeah.
a while it's like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah,
You
I mean, it
just
still tastes
sometimes
really
miss
good.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I gotta go soon. This has been a
Oh,
great
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, this has been great, and thanks for having me again. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
it.
it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying like talking to artists finally, because I can talk about Smash Bros all I want. I mean, but even then, maybe that wouldn't be the best topic right now, considering all the stuff that
Yeah, maybe not. Gotta
but
wait it out a little bit
yeah.
more.
But anyway, because art is our career, I do want to talk to
Hmm.
as much artists as I can. It was really a pleasure having you on this. I wish you the best, and if you don't mind, I would like for you to like plug your stuff. Like, I know you stream PsychoMochiie. I have that drawn on the image that I'm displaying right now. But like,
Aw.
what else? Like, you're on Fiverr. Anywhere
Yeah,
else?
I'm on Fiverr. My username is just PsychoMochiie, but with an underscore in between, so it's like psycho_mochi.
Oh, okay.
They just take whatever like your email is and just plop it down there, so you can't really change your username.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a site for like all my commission stuff, like and like a really clear cut, um, detailed price stuff and examples, like
Mm-hmm.
including Twitch and Magic the Gathering art.
Mm-hmm.
It's on psychomochi.com. I just make it easy for
Oh,
everybody
nice.
to
Yeah,
find me,
yeah.
really. Yeah, and like if you want to see like more MTG stuff, it would be on my Instagram, same name, Psychomochi, yada yada yada.
I'm
And
actually going on your website right now, psychomochi.com. Oh,
yeah,
okay. I
I
see.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean there isn't much there, but it's just a lot easier to like access like all the stuff,
Yeah, it's
both
just good to
types
have
of commission.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then like it'll link you to like Fiverr or like contact me kind of deal.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool
Yeah.
beans.
Well, I hope that I'm gonna be sharing this to my people, and I hope
Uh-huh.
you share it with your people as well. I would love for
Oh yeah,
more people to
definitely.
listen in on this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But even if anyone doesn't listen to this conversation, it was really a joy.
Oh yeah, I definitely really love like talking to you because I feel like I don't have enough like friends who actually do art as like
Yeah,
a
yeah, same. That's why
thing.
I've been needing like more people to come and talk to
Oh
me
right,
on the
yeah,
show. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But yeah, yeah, it's been great. So yeah, Psychomochi guys. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Okay.